When a building becomes a community, and why does this place matter so much to people? Before we begin, I want to take 30 seconds to thank two people who help make Dunkers Podcast what it is. Emma Woods helps raise the profile of Dunkers Podcast across our social channels, and Jason Hurd is our technical musician who smooths and takes out all our ums, ahs and awkward pauses. And whilst we may venture into video in the future, for now, all we ask is a simple, from you, our listener, is a simple like, share and follow. Every reaction helps us grow and makes this show the best we can make it. Today, we're stepping into one of those true cultural hearts of Llyn Peninsula. And that's why I asked when a building becomes a community. Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw. Built in 1856, overlooking Cardigan Bay, this is far more than an art centre. It is history, its identity, its community, and its Welsh heritage still alive and evolving today. From Victorian grandeur to open-air theatre, from horse-drawn trams to modern exhibitions, and from local volunteers to nationally important collections, this is a place where art, nature and culture all meet. Today we discover why, and a big Dunkers welcome to the Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw director, Gwyn Jones. Good morning, Gwyn.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Well, thank you. Well, we've caught a dry day, if not a sunny day, but we'll make the most of it on our podcast. So, I'm going to start off by asking a big question. If Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw disappeared tomorrow, what would Llanbedrog lose?
I think not only Llanbedrog, but the Llyn Peninsula itself would lose a bit of its soul, to be honest. It's really a part of the heritage, as you said, of Llyn, and people come to Plas to not only get art exhibitions, but also heritage and historical exhibitions as well. And they feel a part ownership of it because it's a charitable trust as well. So you and I own the Plas as much as anybody else. Okay. Is that through our contributions or is that through our attendance, or, how can people even get more involved than just as a visitor? Very much so. We depend heavily and have done for the last 30 years since the charity took over on volunteers, on their fundraising abilities and on patrons as well. So yes, there's always an open door, and our volunteers play an integral part of our day-to-day running of Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw. Brilliant. Okay, so it really is a people's place. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So was I right? Is it 1856, 57? Yes, that's right. It completed in 57, commissioned by Lady Elizabeth Jones Parry of the Maturin Estates. During that era, wealthy landlords ruled the roost everywhere across Britain, and on the Llyn Peninsula itself there were three main landowners, families, and the Maturin Estate was the biggest. It was about 13,000 acres, and this was built as a dower house for Lady Elizabeth Jones Parry. Okay, what is a dower house? Well, I dumb it down a bit and call it a posh granny flat. But her husband, the squire of the Maturin Estate, died in 1853. Right. So the procedure would have been that if her son married, he'd take the main seat in the house, and the main Maturin house was about 4 or 5 miles as the crow flies from here, just to the north side of Maturin, the main mountain in the centre of Llyn, which you'll see from all corners. So if you married, then she would have to find a place to live. Oh, right. She would be kicked out as such, but it would have been her main residence. Okay. And did she would be the Lady Love Parry Jones, would she? Yeah, Lady Elizabeth Jones Parry, yes. Yeah, Elizabeth Jones Parry. She actually never did live here because her son never married until, well, he did marry, but after she died. She died in 1883. So she would come by horse and carriage once a week, apparently, just to check on the servants. And she had a large arts collection, so she built it really as a personal arts space, arts gallery.
Oh, right. So it was what we see today is almost in the DNA of the place. It was always the fabric of her ideas.
Definitely, yes. She built it. She was into the aesthetic movements, and she commissioned 2 architects to build this house, and the winning architect was Henry Kennedy, who was also the architect for the Diocese of Bangor. So you got this ecclesiastical feel to the building when you walk in as well.
Absolutely, yes, and it has got an aura here. People who come, they'll never ever forget it. It's unlike a lot of sort of grand houses in the UK, which you can tell are grand, but this is so personal, personal.
It's like a Gothic Victorian fantasy, really. You know, it's quite unique, and it would have been quite new and unique at that time when it was built as well.
Yeah, and when we came in, I remember one time that we met before, you were telling me about the roof structure of this particular place. It's quite unique in itself, isn't it?
Yes. In the main hall itself, you've got a triple hammer roof formation, and there's only a couple of examples in the UK, which on a much grander scale would have been Westminster Abbey. And then here we have a smaller version, but it's beautiful. You know, all those skills now have been lost to time.
Oh, I'm sure. And there's little emblems or shields that are on the end of each of the arches, aren't they?
Yes,
you can see.
Yes, the heraldry. The heraldry shields on the beams themselves. They're quite. It's quite rare to see them in Gwynedd now. There's only a couple of places that show them, and they are for the 15 tribal families of Gwynedd from ancient times, to be honest, which formed the later main families that took over the lands during the age of the Welsh princes. So they go back well over 1,000 years.
Wow. So whilst there were 3, it's just in my mind, whilst there were 3 major landowners on the Llyn, does the Llyn, because it feels as though it has quite an influence over the rest of Wales in some ways?
Yes, during those Welsh princes' times, Llyn would have been, along with Ynys Môn, Anglesey, where they would grow the food for all the families, really. But it was really good growing land, A1 land,
right,
on Anglesey and Llyn. And for an example, Llyn would have been in the hands and the ownership of Dafydd, Llywelyn's brother, in the 13th century. And the main place of residence for the princes would have been Nevin, not Pwllheli. When Edward I defeated Llywelyn in 1282, in 1284 he did an inventory of all of Wales, and there was 45 families in Nevin and only 12 in Pwllheli. So Nevin was the main residence, and that's where his main fort and palace would have been.
Okay, and would it have moved to Pwllheli, because Pwllheli's on the coast, but Nevin is also on the coast?
Yes.
I wondered why it had the centre of that activity had moved.
It moved after Owain Glyndwr in 1401, 1402 burnt Nevin to a crust, and there was nobody living in Nevin then for the following 100 years. It gradually became back up because it became a borough town. So Pwllheli took over as the main town after that. Okay.
So let's back to the Plas. So obviously Parry Jones died in 1853, and Lady Parry Jones died obviously a wee bit later.
Yes, and then her son was a bit of a boy, a bit of a character.
Oh, was he?
Their family built the estate up over 300 years, and he lost it all in 30.
Wow.
He was an MP, a gambler and a womanizer, so nothing much has changed
in that respect. Not at all, yeah. He's welcome to modern times.
Yeah, exactly. But he was also a Welsh speaker, which was very unusual by that time for the gentry families. And had
it wasn't a prerequisite then, you had to be a Welsh speaker?
No, well, most of the gentry families in Wales by the late Victorian eras would have been anglicised and not Welsh speaking at all. So the Madryn family would have been quite unusual for him to be a Welsh speaker. And he also gave funding towards the movement to Patagonia in Argentina. Okay. He went over 2 years before they moved in 1865 to do a recce with Lewis Jones. And that's why today you get Puerto Madryn in Argentina, named after him.
Right.
Because he went over and he funded that initial journey to go over.
Okay.
But, you know, he was a gambler, would spend most of his time in the clubs in London and infrequently came home to see his mother.
Yeah.
She was the opposite. She was very careful with money and so forth. But after she died, then it all panned away from him, really, and he lost it all. By 1891, it was only him and one servant left in the main house in Madryn with huge debts, and it was a very sad ending.
Absolutely. And what was, in 1891, what was happening to this place?
By 1883, in her death, the following year, he leased it out to a wealthy banking family based in London of Scottish descent called the Angersteins, and they leased it for 10 years. And they're the ones who buried their pets in the garden. You'll see a pet cemetery at the bottom then.
That's right.
So it was a holiday home for them for 10 years.
Right.
The crucial bits after that was the Solomon Andrews era, where when after Thomas Duncan Jones Parry died in 1891.
Then Solomon Andrews then took over.
Yes, the descendants of the Madryn estates had to sell everything basically.
Really? He did a good job of getting rid of the fortune, didn't he?
There's talks of him gambling thousands of pounds a day.
Really?
At that time.
Oh wow! Yes.
He lost it all. So that's the crucial next stage is becoming a public arts venue for the first time.
Right.
When Solomon bought it.
And when Solomon Andrews bought it, did it need a lot of restoration, or were the people that just kept it as a holiday home, did they maintain it as we see?
I would think there would have been some degradation, but when Lady Love was alive, she had 4 full-time gardeners here, you know, a team. The place was spotless, apparently, you know, and it was kept to a minute notice, really, for her arrival. There would have been, I'm sure, degradation in that 10 years we leased it out. But Solomon also added to it because he turned it into a public venue. So he built a dance hall next door on the grassy knoll next door, which was moved to Butlins in Pwllheli in the 1950s. Right. So it's no longer there. But he made it into a public arts venue. So he wanted a dance hall. He built a tramway all the way from Pwllheli.
He was responsible for the tramway, was he?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Initially, he wanted stone to build the embankments to the Cobb in Pwllheli. So he had the quarry in Cerrig-y-Defaid, which is halfway between Pwllheli and Llanbedrog.
Yeah.
And then carried on with the tramway all the way to the gates. He had a little station at the bottom, so he'd come by horse-drawn carriage for a few pennies, and then spend an afternoon in Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw. On Wednesdays and Saturdays, he'd have string quartets playing in the garden and dances nearly every night in the summer. So
that would work so well nowadays, wouldn't it?
Yes. I know we look back with rose-tinted
glasses. We do, right? Yeah.
But it must have been nice. Lovely.
It must have been, a real quality of life.
Yeah, and Solomon kind of transformed Pwllheli as well.
Did he?
Yeah, he came by chance to Pwllheli in the mid-1890s. He was coming up by train to buy land in Llandudno, and dropped in Pwllheli by chance and saw there was a sale going on and bought vast amounts of land, and he was the one who brought the train station into the centre of Pwllheli. The former train station was where the Juice and Hughes Gray area is now.
Oh, right.
Much further out.
Okay, yep.
He also, importantly, built the Cobb, the second embankment in Pwllheli, and reclaimed a lot of land from the sea by doing so. So anything
that's part of where the harbour is at the moment.
Yes,
is that
where you see the from the train station down towards South Beach in Pwllheli.
Yep.
That's the embankment, the Cobb in Welsh. It was built by Solomon.
Okay.
Everything in yellow brick in Pwllheli, he was responsible for that.
It was down to him.
And there's Solomon Bridge in Pwllheli, Pont Solomon, and then Cardiff Road, because he was from Cardiff, in recognition of his investment.
His investment and his input.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you think they'll ever build on that ground, that Cobb?
No, it's. I know which land you mean. It's Ynys, the island next to the Cobb. Yeah, it has been talks in the past of a hotel.
Right.
Kelly's desperate for a nice hotel, but now the community have bought the Tour Hotel on the High Street, so hopefully that will function as a good hotel in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
What happens to the inn is I'm not sure who owns it even.
Right. And so this tramway connection, didn't you, just before I leave that, I think my memory serves me, you used to have a tram carriage or a carriage of some sort just in the grounds here, didn't you?
We did. One of the Andrews trams, there's only a few left. And we had it in the garden here for about 10 years.
Okay.
It's owned by Pwllheli Town Council now, so they've taken it back to be refurbished, and they have plans, hopefully, to display it in the town itself in the future. Okay. But we have turned where the location of the tram was in the garden, we've turned that into a contemporary art space now. We called it the sculpture station. So we've got the second piece has just gone and been installed last month by Manon Aust, and it's called End of the Line. Actually, she's been inspired by the tram line idea. So you'll see 2 tracks going up to the heavens. In the garden there now. So it's nice to have a contemporary feel to that as well. Absolutely, yes.
If it metaphorically is going up to the heavens, you've got to be careful somebody doesn't come along with their ashes.
Yeah, yes, but there's been a few ashes scattered in the past.
I'll bet there has. And the Women's Land Army, a bit of digging around through Women's Land Army, and I thought, well, I must ask you about that.
Yes. So the Andrews period flowered in the 1910s, 1920s, and still the Andrews family still owned Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw up to the Second World War, and buildings like this were requisitioned and given to the military for different uses. So this building here was given to the Land Army girls. Who are based here, and the RAF boys were only 2 miles down the road in Penrose, so the dances continued.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they played such an important part, and I was lucky enough to meet a few of them about 20 years ago.
Really?
Sadly passed away now, but who told us a lot about what went on here and where they slept, where their barracks were and so forth.
Right. And even if I questioned you, there's some things that you're not going to be able to repeat.
They only told me certain things.
Absolutely, yeah. So obviously through Solomon Andrews had got a real sort of liking for the place and put a lot into it. Did that include the restoration? Because it feels as though this is so modern now. I wondered when the restoration had started.
We've got old photographs actually. There's 3 museum rooms we have on the first floor dedicated to the 3 main faces. So the middle one is the Madryn, initially building it. Then you've got the Andrews room, and then the Ap Thomas room, which we'll mention later. And there's old postcards and photographs from 1905 from the Andrews period that shows you what it was like then. And there was wood panelling inside, very gothic and dark, and it would have been fixed paintings as well. His collections would have been here for years unchanged, so they hung him right up to the roof.
Really? So he was also an art collector as well as a collector of buildings?
Very much so. Well, his family was. And Welsh porcelain as well. We've got a famous collection of Llanbedrog and Swansea porcelain on display here, still owned by the Andrews family.
Oh, yes, I've seen that in the display cases.
It's one of the rarest and most sought-after plates from the Llanbedrog collection is here, which is the 3 Graces plate. And Fergus Gambon, who's the world authority on Welsh porcelain and British porcelain, really. Michael Gambon's son.
Oh, yes.
He works for Bonhams. He kindly came down and he wrote a book for us on this collection. It's worth seeing.
Wow. So it just attracts people from all walks of life and all corners of the world, doesn't it?
And I think the arts exhibitions are important, but also the heritage and the historical information is just as important for people. My background is, I study Welsh history and archaeology in Bangor University, so I'm very much in the heritage side of things here. We have curators dealing with the art side. And
interestingly enough, a previous podcast that we did was with Daffy David up at Llanbedrog, and that went up a couple of days ago, and he talks all about the heritage, and he sort of weaves stories into our imagination, which you can actually imagine being here. You can feel as though you're part of the story.
Your storytelling was such... The vernacular was so important for telling stories and passing stories down. David Davies Hughes is one of the few cyfarwydds we have left. The old cyfarwydds was peripatetic storytellers that went from one gentry family to the other and were patronised, and they would sing praises and eulogies to the gentry, the Welsh princes before then, but then they targeted the gentry for their patronage.
Oh, did they?
And David is that old school storyteller. He's an inspirational man, David, and very talented as well as an artist.
Yeah, he is. And he's got somebody described after listening to it in the last few days, he's got a liquid voice.
He has.
He certainly has.
Like honey.
Just like honey, yeah. So although this is actually becoming the revival, it's now a modern arts centre, it feels as though the exhibitions that we've enjoyed here over the last 8 to 10 years since we've been living down here have all felt as though they are a nod to the past. It's not just modern art for the sake of modern art. It's modern art with a connection. Yes. And today, the exhibition that you've got in the at the moment with the Coed Coeth, that's just a prime example of that, isn't it?
Yes, I think there's been a few key targets and stepping stones over the last 20 years. One of the main ones was becoming an accredited museum in 2013. And then that allowed us to have loans of special collections from the national institutions, like Amgueddfa Cymru, the National Library, and the South Bank Centre in London have loaned us pieces in the past. And one of our first main loan exhibitions was the John Piper Mountains of Wales exhibition, which was a wonderful show. And what we could do then was invite contemporary artists to react to that loan exhibition.
Oh, right.
Which gives you the past and the present.
There's a conversation there.
Conversation then.
Yeah.
And then Coed Coexist is just this special show that's come really from the disaster of Storm Dara.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You remember Storm Dara? I remember it well, the 7th of December.
Was that 24?
2024.
Yeah.
Etched on my mind, which we all thought the world was going to end because the woodland we bought in 2008, it was 70 years of wild rhododendron and laurel growth, and it took us 3 years just to get that cleared out.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to get funding to open up the paths as part of the All Wales Coastal Pathway, develop the outdoor theatre and the car park, which is an eco car park to allow the roots to grow. And it's an ancient woodland, protected ancient woodland, so there's a lot of work gone into restoring and managing the woodland over the last 15 years, and then Storm Dara took it away nearly in 6 hours.
Wow.
We had 90 to 100 mile an hour winds for over 6 hours. And the destruction, over 200 trees went down.
200?
Over 200 trees, well over 200 trees. And it was soul-destroying to come the next day and see all that. All those paths were closed, and immediately we saw a fall of people coming here because the paths were closed.
Yeah.
But out of it has come accumulated into this wonderful exhibition. There's come a lot of good things have come from that. So, we've now got a tree nursery on site, working with Simon Gibbs, an ecologist, who lives in Llanbedrog, who came to us via the Coexist symposium we did in 2025.
So once just stopping you a second, once the disaster had happened, the tree was down, you then thought there's an opportunity here. So you pulled together a symposium.
Actually, the beech tree, which was shared with all the 80 artists, came down in January 24. There was another storm.
You've suffered, haven't you?
We did. Anything that comes from the north or the east here, the prevailing winds we're sheltered from, because Mynydd Tir y Cwmwd shelters us. But anything from the north or the east is the killer, especially the exotic trees. They hate the east wind. But that storm in January 24 and December, they were straight in from the northeast. And the beech tree that came down was in the car park, and then John Egan, the artist, said, let's do something with this. So we did the symposium to start off with.
Okay.
After the symposium, 2 months later, the big storm hit. So it was kind of building up to it in a way. We were preparing for something that we didn't know was coming. But Simon Gibbs, an ecologist who I met during the symposium, said, I'd love to be able to help you plant some trees to replant, because we wanted to replant all those lost trees. And from that, he has created, with wonderful funding from the Gwynedd Nature Partnership, a tree nursery, which is going to be accredited so we can sell trees in the future. And he's identified ancient woodlands on the Llyn Peninsula, identified very rare aspen growing in Llangwthern. I never knew aspen was a native species.
No.
And aspen's going to be ideal now to plant on the slopes to secure the slopes.
Okay.
And then we'll plant oaks and other species to come through.
And were they aspen in Llangwthern? The ones because that was a massive forest as you dropped down into Llangwthern, wasn't it? Were they aspen those trees, or was it just the odd one that he's found?
The odd one in very hard to reach places like crags, because goats and sheep have destroyed all the aspen. Basically, there's only a few left in places where the goats and the sheep can't reach.
Yeah.
The ones taken down recently in Llangwthern were just the pine trees. Commercial pine trees.
Yeah.
So now we are sharing the seeds back to areas like that as well. We actually shared trees with David and Bellinachcha.
Okay.
And he used the larch that came down in the storm to build the new structure in Llangwthern, which is the new shelter they built there, the wonderful shelter structure that David's opened this year.
Yeah.
So it's all about community sharing as well, and Coexist is all about community.
And that literally is what coexist means.
Yes, Coed is Welsh for trees. And coexist is coexisting.
Around the whole ethos of this tree.
And it's John and Giacomo. John Camori is a really famous Italian sculptor, Japanese sculptor, who lives on Llyn, and John Egan, her husband's a wonderful wood artist who also lives on Llyn with her near Tidwyliog. And John's originally from Ynys Môn, so he's the one who came up with the idea of doing something with that fallen beach.
Brilliant. Okay, so we touched a moment ago on a theatre. You've got a theatre here.
Yeah, we're going backwards now, sorry. I'm
no, not at all. It's just one or two things when you throw a word in, then I try and hold on to it, you see. So just tell our listener about your theatre. Yeah,
well, when we purchased the woodland in 2008, then we got funding to clear the invasive species, and it was a natural slope really that opened up after we cleared rhododendron and laurel. And rhododendron is a beast, the ponticum, it throws acid down, so nothing grows underneath.
Wow.
So it was just a big brown space when we cleared the invasive species. And to be honest, we were desperate for a car park in Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw. We only had parking in the front. And we couldn't, for the life of us, get funding for a car park, but we came up with a outdoor theatre idea with the car park, and we got funding eventually for that. Countryside Council for Wales helped us a lot at that time. It's now called Natural Resources Wales.
Okay.
Got some funding to do that development and also the paths as well.
Right.
It's been really popular.
I'm sure it is. We've yes, you can sort of come down with either your own cushion or you can rent a cushion here and just sit yourself down and enjoy an open air theatre. Yeah. It's quite a unique experience. Actually. It is, even when it rains, and I have been here when it rains.
Exactly. We've since their first performances was in 2012, and we've invited back every year since then a company called Illyria, who are a touring theatre company, a wonderful touring theatre company. And it's in their contract they'll only cancel in a hurricane.
Oh, really?
But they're also the only ones that pay their artists equity fees. They really look after their artists, so we invite them back every summer.
Yeah.
And we also do concerts, Welsh folk concerts, classical concerts, and performances there as well.
Yeah. And I think if that's a salutary lesson in a way. If you pay people the right sort of fees, like equity fees, then you'll get decent actors, and you'll get people loyal to the institution.
And to be honest, artists never get what they put into to paintings or performances.
No. Joe, but you actually get quite a national profile from some of that down here, don't you? You know,
yes,
it's known nationally.
Yes, because when there was that era after the Second World War when the Andrews family sold Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw, it was a pretty sad era after that. For about 30 years, it became even a carpet warehouse and dilapidated. There was dry rot through the place. There was a tree growing through the roof, and it was a local couple, an artist called Gwyneth ap Thomas and her husband David ap Thomas, who saved Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw from dereliction and opened it up again as an arts venue, and their mantra was to support young artists. And so as a charity, we continued with that vision, really.
Really? So, and that is, so any artist is welcome, but young artists especially?
Yes, especially, I wouldn't say young artists, but to give people their first chance of exhibiting is really important.
Yeah.
And we don't differentiate with age.
Right, no.
But especially young artists, because sometimes they've never had the confidence to do so.
Right, and that, I think, begs a question, because you've got a building which is a sort of an important building. It matters such a lot to the community. How do you stop that becoming a sort of a museum or just a mausoleum almost? How do you keep it alive, Gwyn?
Exactly. That's our key challenge, to be honest.
Really?
3 years ago, we were lucky enough, after about nearly 20 years of trying, to finally get revenue status from the Arts Council of Wales, which has now allowed us to have, we can employ professional curators, engagement officers, marketing officer, and we have a team now that focuses on the contemporary, on what's out there in the art scene. And now also we have Ewan Hughes and myself, who have a historical background, so the history. Ewan especially is a wonderful historian, doing the heritage exhibitions as well. So I think there's room for both,
right,
and more. You know, there's always an open door for ideas here.
Are there, really? You're sort of, the trustees are, if you've got an idea, share it with us.
Yes, and thankfully we're quite popular, so there's, we're working 2 or 3 years ahead, but there's always slots. There's a big space, so there's always ideas for new ideas to come and be slotted in maybe as well. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 years. No.
So do you think, I mean, this is just a personal question really, do you think people fall in love with the building and the fact that it's an art centre, or do you think they fall in love with the landscape and the environment, or can they not be separated?
I don't think they can. People sometimes come in and say, we've just found you, we didn't know about you, and they come back. I think it's become more of a destination now, because you can go for walks and so forth as well. You can spend 3 or 4 hours here
easily,
and then take in the history if you want, and then come back and take more of the exhibitions as well. This current exhibition, I think you need to come 3 or 4 times, because there's so much information to be taken in.
Yeah,
so many different forms of arts as well. But no, it's just, it is what people want it to be, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And because of the importance, the impact of exhibitions like you've got on at the moment, this one I think is to the middle to the end of July, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you actually have to plan years ahead?
Yes.
Yeah,
we're working 28, 29 now.
Are you? Okay.
You have to really, because artists have to maybe work 2 years on their exhibitions. If it's a big exhibition, solo exhibition as well. They have to study, they have to go on, some come here on residencies for a couple of weeks, some go to Llyn or take in the coastline. There's a lot of work, and sometimes thousands of hours that go into an exhibition. As lay people, I'm not an artist myself, you don't realise that's really the amount of effort that goes into it.
No, I'm sure not.
And if they're paid by the hour, they're well below the minimum wage artists. So I do admire artists very much.
Yes, it's a dedicated lifestyle, isn't
definitely.
it? Yeah.
The key one for new artists exhibiting here as well is the summer exhibition. It's our big one for us commercially every year. So the charity has to be still about 90% self-funded. So the summer exhibition is a key one commercially.
Right.
And since about 7-8 years ago, we've gone for a salon hang, so we pack them in. So we can get more artists into the summer exhibition as well. Okay. And this year we've got 120 artists.
120 artists?
120 artists in the summer exhibition this year, so it's going to be fantastic.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I think half of them will be new artists as well. And the panel meets, the deadline every year is just before Christmas, and the panel meets in January to introduce new artists to join our gallery artists for the summer exhibition.
Right.
So it's exciting. It's off the wall. You can come in, buy your painting and take it home with you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, because I know in a lot of art galleries, I don't know whether this applies here, you can sort of decide you're going to buy something, but you can't take it until the end of the exhibition. Yes. So it's very much more dynamic. This summer exhibition is very much more dynamic.
Exactly, and we depend heavily on the tourism and the patronage of tourism here in the summer, so that if you live down in the south of London, south coast of London or of England, you're not going to come back for your painting.
No, you're not.
It makes sense for it to be off the wall.
Right.
It's quite exciting as well when it's like that.
Well, I'm
take
sure.
It with them.
I'm sure.
All the others, you have to wait till the end of the exhibition. So.
And just as a pure logistical thing, it's just gone through my mind. If you've got 120 artists all with pieces there and people are coming in and sort of taking them and leaving blank wall space, what do you do then? You're in the middle of an exhibition.
I think you'd be good with the logistics here. I want to get you to volunteer, the summer show especially. A maximum of 6 works each, and we hang 2 or 3 to start off with, and then the rest in storage. We put them all the pieces they have entered for the summer exhibitions on our website. But 3 will be in storage, and then if they sell, it's replaced straight away. Those
are replaced. Okay. So, and if somebody's lucky enough to sell all 6, then the space is just taken by another artist, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We try to be as fair as we can.
Yeah, and but for new artists, that is such an opening, such an opportunity, isn't it?
Yes. You know what? Art's not all about selling, obviously, especially contemporary work, but it does boost a lot of confidence for new artists when they see their works being sold. You know, and some artists do depend on those sales as well.
I'm sure. So we've got art, we've got sort of creativity in mind. That's got to lead me to one question, and that's your restaurant cafe. Tell me about it. It's so not like the rest of the building.
No, very much.
It's called the Urchin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been dubbed and devised and made by an artist, and he called it the Urchin Cafe because the inspiration came from a sea urchin he found on Llanbedrog beach. The shape of it. He's very much into the Fibonacci theory and the golden theory, and an amazing guy called Matt Sanderson. We were stuck for about 3 or 4 years with different architects, different plans, who came up with this brutalist concrete constructions, and none of the trustees wanted to go down that route. We knew we had to contrast, the new cafe had to contrast the building. You know, that's what Cadw, like English heritage in England, we have Cadw in Wales, that's what they look for. You avoid pastiche.
Yes.
You don't try to match what's there. But we wanted something special, and Matt said, I'd like to give it a go. Can you give me some time with the board in September? He came back 2 months later with this wonderful model he'd made.
Oh, not just visuals, an actual model.
Actual model.
Wow.
Yeah, wooden and steel model. And blew everybody away. Everybody's unanimous decision to go with that.
Right.
And surprisingly for us, Cadw and Gwynedd Conservation Officer and officials down in Cardiff, we took the model down to Cardiff, were also blown away by it and supported us from the start, which was surprising, to be honest. And we had a few people locally, because we had that model on public display, we had public consultation. Some hated it.
Okay. It was definitely a Marmite.
It was definitely a Marmite for that 12 months when it was a consultation. We had some people quite vociferous against it. But I'm so pleased that some of those people now have changed their minds.
You'll not please all the people all the time, but clearly you've got the majority behind you.
Yes, and it makes sense for our new cafe to be a piece of art. You know,
yes.
We're all about art and heritage here, and Matt's really clever that he went to the history books, you know, and when this house was built in the 1850s, you know, it was the age of the pavilion, 1851 exhibition just been. And a German biologist called Ernst Haeckel at that time was the first to identify diatoms under the microscope and draw them. These wonderful creatures which are the biggest carbon captures on Earth.
Right.
Without diatoms in the sea, we couldn't exist. They capture the carbon and take it down to the bottom of the sea. And you can't see them with the naked eye, but when you see them under the microscope, they're this wonderful creation, all this Fibonacci theories come into it, and the beautiful balance. And the main chandelier in the middle of the cafe, when you look up, is his interpretation of a diatom. So we care about the environment here, we control an ancient woodland. A lot of our exhibitions are working with artists who care about the environment, and Matt is passionate about caring about the environment and raising awareness of the disasters out there environmentally. So it makes sense that we went down that route.
Yes, yeah, and change has to happen, and it does happen all the time. It has to start somewhere, and in this part of the world, and for Llyn, then why not use this as the flag?
Definitely, and Coed Quirks is all about that as well. All those artists care about the environment and raising awareness and community. We've lost a lot of the last 40, 50 years of that community spirit, but I think it's still there.
Yes.
People, majority of people are good, caring people.
Yeah, and from this podcast, it isn't so well hidden community. It is. I'd reinforce what you've just said. It is there. People want to get involved. Yes. I think it's just we want to be led a little bit. Yeah. And if we've got something as creative as this, then I guess that's why you get your volunteers, because I know you get volunteers here, don't you?
We do, and they're such an important part of the place.
And what do you think this place gives back to those people?
I think there's something about Plas that's quite unique. There's something about the feel of the place, the location of it as well, sheltered in the Mediterranean Cwmwd here. There's something, the balance of it is right, if you're into feng shui or whatever. Yeah. There's something about it. It's into your blood as well. And because it's owned by the people, owned by the community, people want to give back when it's publicly owned. Yeah. I suppose a little bit the way that the theatre, all the steps on the theatre and the seats on the theatre, or many of them, are sponsored, aren't they? Yes. Again, when you have to raise funds, you have to match fund, which is always the difficult part.
Yes.
And a lot of people helped match fund by having their names or names of loved ones who have passed, unfortunately, displayed there in granite, and the same for the cafe as well. When you sit in the cafe inside, you'll see just on the inside of the steelwork, you'll see there's plaques in memory of a lot of people.
Oh, are they? Oh, right. That's
so you can still actually buy them if you want.
Oh, can you? Yes. That's a real connection.
It's a sales pitch.
Okay. All right. We'll take that as the commercial side of this podcast. Yeah. Okay.
It's a nice way of remembering something.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Big question, last one I suppose in a way, but big question. In 2040, what's the Plas going to look like?
I just, for the life of me, I'd love to see that.
Would you? Yeah.
I'd
well, you should do. You're young enough.
No, not quite. I'd love to go back to 1857 to see it then. 1896 to see it when Solomon Andrews took over.
Yeah.
To go back to 1941 or 42 to see what the Land Army girls were up to.
Yeah.
And also to see it in 20 or 30 years' time, because we, as a team here now, we've got 28 staff, a lot of volunteers. We're passionate about what we do every day, and we've done over the last 30 years as a charity as well, and the trustees have worked very hard. I think we're laying good foundations down that you can continue.
I'm sure you would. So I'm going to sneak a couple more in, and that is, what do you think visitors would think? What's the takeaway that visitors, that in your mind, you think people get from visiting here?
I can't stop looking at the visitor book. Every day when I leave, I look at the visitor book, and I care about what people think, and to see people from all over the world saying nice things in that visitor book. Yeah. It means the world.
Yeah.
And I think it is what people want it to be.
Yeah.
It's hopefully we come across as being friendly, and if not, we'd like to hear about it. But all of our staff are passionate about Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw and passionate about that welcome. Arts venues shouldn't be stuck up and unwelcoming.
No. No.
Friendly.
Yeah, it shouldn't be behind glass doors. You've got to be there, haven't you? And that's just talking of glass doors. I know that each of the rooms here has got a different theme, hasn't it? So I suppose I'm almost answering my own question. People must get different things from different rooms, different parts of the house.
Yes, more and more people are interested in the history of the house now as well, and we try to display that in the old-fashioned way of having information on walls, but also in film. And we've got a wonderful historian called John Dilwyn Williams, who's been on the board here for many years, but he's the authority on the old gentry family of Llyn, and he's written the book on the history of Plas Glyn-y-Wyddw.
Right. And so is he behind some of the videos that we can watch when we're in here?
In the history rooms, yes. I see Dilwyn's.
I guessed him.
He's also a very good amateur actor. So he's good on film.
Oh, there you go. Last question. Honestly, I will let you go. But what do you think the founders would think of the Plas now if they walked in today?
I think she would be quietly pleased, because this was, when you think about it, this was so unusual in 1857, this house. It was so modern for that era.
Yeah.
Although it was a Gothic Victorian fantasy, it was modern and quite unusual for that landscape at that time. So I think she'd like the new cafe. Good. And I think she'd like that it's still got a home for the arts.
Right. Well, as this is the Dunkers podcast, I mean, there's got to be some connection with the sea, and obviously you've got a superb restaurant or a cafe restaurant which is around the sea. So do you think we'll ever get you into the sea on our dunking?
I'm a bit of a wimp, but I will come, but I have to wear something on my feet and my hands, because when my hands and feet are cold,
you get a bit of Reynolds, do you? yeah, okay.
I think you're very brave, all of you.
But stupid brave.
I'd love to come about mid-August, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, just that one day when we get the water's over 20 and the temperature's 80. Yeah, okay. Well, until you're always more than welcome. As I have felt today, everybody makes you feel very welcome here. That's what's special about this place. And thank you very much indeed for joining us. And I just wish, as far as the Dunkers go, we always sign off, and I wish you and the Plas, the spirit of the Dunkers, go with you.
So kind of you.
Thank you.